Hey everybody, it's Nate with Sauce Ain't the Boss here again, and today is day number 300 of quitting alcohol. Being at 300 days, such a big round number, I was doing a lot of reflecting on how I got to 300 days and what I would really stand to lose now if I went back to drinking alcohol again. And it got me to really thinking about how the biggest part of this journey is creating a life that makes you not want to drink anymore, that makes you lose the desire to drink. And a big part of that is doing things and creating things in your life that you love doing more than drinking alcohol. And I know when we first start off, alcohol seems like the end all be all in our world, right? It's what we've done for so long. It's the way we deal with so many things in our life, like stress and how we celebrate or how we have get-togethers and that kind of thing. But that's just a bunch of brainwashing that we've done to ourselves and that culture and society has done to us. Alcohol is straight up, it's a poison. It's not good for you. And it's a drug and you shouldn't be taking it. And that's just the real reality of it, right? And so as you go along, when you first quit drinking, you still have that mindset though that it's something good that you're giving up, right? And it seems like it's hard to walk away from that. And a big part of that is because that has been a big part of your life, if not the majority of your life. You've identified as being a drinker for the last however many years you've been drinking. And so when you first, cut that tie, so to speak, you're sitting there kind of going, what the heck am I going to do with my life now, with myself, with my time? What do I like to do? Drinking, sadly, looking back now, was kind of my hobby. And how dumb is that? I mean, maybe some of you other guys are in the same boat. I'm not saying you're dumb. I felt that way. I feel like, wow, I wasted a lot of time, energy, money, effort, life, drinking a poison, numbing myself from doing so many other awesome things I could have been doing. And so the minute you put down the alcohol, it is difficult to walk into that fresh, new, uncharted territory, and you find yourself going, how do I do this, right? How do I navigate this? And you just have to start putting one foot in front of the other and start brick by brick building that life away from alcohol. Start finding things that you love to do and enjoy doing. For me, it was, like I mentioned in a couple of recent videos, hiking and walking and working on my health, working on cars. My son plays guitar. He loves to do that. He loves jujitsu. My wife loves to paint. We all have these talents and things that we're capable of doing that are a lot of fun. And, it does seem a little daunting and challenging to, quit the alcohol and try to find some type of joy in other things when you first start. But that's just because you've been doing this one thing for so long. And I didn't see it that way in the beginning. It just feels kind of off and awkward and that kind of thing. But don't pay that any mind. Just kind of just get through that. I know it's easier said than done, but that fades, that feeling fades, the cravings fade, all that programming starts to go away. You start to see alcohol as a negative thing and not a positive thing. You start to just feel and see alcohol in a whole new light. You start to realize how much it took from you, not how much it gave you. And again, that doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. And so be patient with this process and brick by brick, start adding positive things in your life. Start working on yourself. And like I mentioned, with this process, there is some discomfort. There is some suffering. And suffering and discomfort, though, is necessary for growth to occur, for rewards to occur on the other side of that suffering and discomfort. And I'm on the other side of a lot of that now. I'm on the benefits side of quitting alcohol. I've lost 50 pounds. I'm in extremely good shape. I never thought in a million years, I was telling my wife today on our hike, that I'm in the best shape of my life. Even when I was in high school, I said, I'd look at myself in the mirror. I mean, I was probably fairly good shape back then. But I still, maybe I had body dysmorphia. I felt bad about the way I looked, and taking my shirt off in public, and just didn't have that confidence that I was. Of course, when you're in high school, you're around a bunch of other guys lifting weights and that kind of thing too. And I just felt like I was maybe inferior back then to where they were and that kind of thing. And for the first time in my life, I'm not ashamed of my physical form. It's got some battle scars. I got some loose skin here and there. I've got some aching joints and things along the way. My hair is getting thin in the back. But you know what? I've also lost that insecurity through quitting drinking. I'm not insecure about myself anymore. I don't give one rip about what people think anymore. It's weird how when you quit drinking a poison, that all of a sudden stuff just starts to click in your life if you give it the time it deserves, and your insecurities fade and your confidence grows and your health gets back to a normal state again, and you just start to build that life, like I say, brick by brick. And sometimes those bricks are just getting through that day of that hard craving without drinking. That's laying a brick. That's paving the foundation. That's going forward when things get tough, and just getting through sometimes the day. Some people go to bed early because they go, the cravings are just too strong. I don't want to lose this here. I'm going to call it quits for the day. And that's a coping mechanism sometimes that people have to do. Wake up the next day fresh and with a new start, and can get through the next day a lot easier. You pick up different tools along the way. Sometimes it's the willpower tool, the willpower to just get through the day. Sometimes it's the surfing the craving thing I've talked about, where you just sit there and you feel it, you let it pass, you see it for what it is. Sometimes it's the just turning that thought off and getting up and doing something, and shaking the funk by going for a hike or getting out and doing something, or focusing on that new hobby you've picked up. There's different tools the longer you go that you get in your quitting alcohol tool bag, I call it. And each day, I pull out a different tool. Some days, like when I was in Hawaii, there were days where it was the willpower tool. Other days it was the surfing the craving tool in Hawaii. Sometimes it was looking at how far I'd come in my fitness journey and going, I don't want to go back to drinking. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. In the 300 days, I have so much to lose now if I went back to alcohol by all these bricks I've been putting down on this house I'm building, this life I'm building away from alcohol, that I don't want to sacrifice it. I don't want to end up where I used to be. And we have to remind ourselves of that in this journey. Sometimes we get to going along 3 months in, 6 months in, we go, you forget how miserable you were when you were drinking, and you kind of, maybe you see some other people drinking around you and you go, gosh, wouldn't it be nice? That happened to me in Hawaii. Wouldn't it be nice to sit here on the beach and drink with the rest of the people, and you get kind of maybe resentful, or I guess that's a good word possibly, and it shouldn't be that way though, but I guess it is sometimes. And you don't have any reason to be resentful. You've got a life now that is amazing. I look at where I was in Hawaii, and I was fit, and looking around at some of the drinkers, there's people there that were pretty out of shape, beer bellies, drinking and stuff. And I go, well, that's kind of the trade-off, right? You get that instant gratification, but you're putting on the pounds, and your skin looks unhealthy, and you're masking the problems. You're not really solving anything, and so just start, 1 foot in front of the other, 1 brick at a time. Building that life away from alcohol. And unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I don't know, it depends how you look at it, it just takes time. Building anything in life it takes time. And you can't rush the process as much as sometimes you wish you could maybe just get through that first month. You got to remember, this is all still life. You still have to live that first life, live through that first month of quitting alcohol. You still make the best of it, right? You only get so many days, right? You don't want to waste them dreading the quitting alcohol process. Make it the best you can by finding things that you can enjoy doing. And a big key to this whole thing is living in the moment and just learning to just feel sometimes. Feel what you're meant to feel. Even if it's discomfort, that will fade. Those days get fewer and fewer. The cravings get weaker, and you just get stronger. And so that's just what I wanted to talk about today. Is 300 days in, guys. I never thought I would get here, and if I hadn't been patient and given this thing the time it deserved, I would have went back to alcohol, because I did so many times in the past. And you might be one of those people watching this video where you've gone a month, you've gone a couple weeks, you've gone a couple days, you've gone 2 months, maybe it was 3 months, but you always ended up going back to the alcohol. You never got to the 300-day mark like I am, or the full year, whatever it's been. And I've been right where you are at. I know what it feels like. I know the challenge and the struggle, and it's real, right? And if I could give you one piece of advice in my 300 days that I've learned, it's be patient and get through the tough days. Those days where you're just a gnat's ass away from going back to alcohol. That craving, like I say, that's a 9.9 on the Richter scale hits, and you don't know what to do with yourself. Figure it out, man. Dig deep, push through that. That's the day maybe you do pull out that willpower tool and use that. And because when you get through those tough days, and sometimes those days last 2, 3, 4 in a row. I've had that, during the journey. And that's not to discourage you guys, because that's just part of it. But man, you hit a whole new leveling up phase when you get through that. When you get through that tough time, it's almost like you're on cloud 9 the following week after that, and everything just is so amazing, and you feel so great because you just, quote, ran a marathon, right? Getting through that 9.9 craving was super tough, and you did it, and you have this extra confidence, and you have this extra momentum. And so, look at those tough days as an opportunity to grow. Don't look at those tough days as a bad thing, even though they feel like it when you're in it. You got to learn to switch your thinking on some of this stuff and go, you know what? I'm going to rock this son of a gun and come out the other side stronger. So that's it for today, guys. Just build that life one brick at a time. Give this thing, the patience and time it deserves, and you'll get to the 300 days like I am. And I know a lot of you guys out there are 6 years in, 5 years in, 2 years in, way ahead of me. And so you guys know what I'm talking about. And I think that, you never stop putting those bricks down. You just keep moving forward with this thing. You keep building on it. You keep going. And the more you do, the less you want to go back to alcohol. I've seen some people make comments on my page about how they're 10 years sober, and they happen to stumble across my page, and how they don't even crave alcohol anymore or think about it, and people are drinking around them at a pool party, and they're just like, I don't even have the desire anymore, because I see these people acting like fools around me drinking, and I don't want any part of that. I'm just so happy living my life that I've built now 10 years away from alcohol that I don't want to go back. Why would I? And so, it just takes time, guys. And, the good things start happening relatively quickly. And so the more of those you start to see come to fruition in this thing, the easier it gets. You start seeing instant wins in the first week. A little bit of that brain fog goes away, or week 2, all of a sudden, something else happens. You lost a few pounds, or you notice that you're not saying dumb stuff to your family anymore, and your relationships start to slightly get better. And then it just starts to snowball, guys, and you just gotta keep going with it. And so I'm rambling now, so I'll call her quits. So yeah, if you guys are enjoying these videos, please give them a like, subscribe to the channel if you can, and most importantly, remember, sauce ain't the boss. You are. You guys have a great day.